ready to go. So. You got a good running back. Obviously we got to find a way to slow him down, get after him. I think they got some mobile quarterbacks that can make some good throws and extend some plays with their feet. So doing a good job of containing them. So, but it's gonna be another game. We just got to play, flying around, trying to find a way to win. So.
Yeah, specifically on that, obviously they switched quarterbacks again with Tyrod. What is your familiarity level with him, and what do you see from him in terms of the way he can extend? And he's seemed to be throwing it downfield a lot as well.
Yeah, well, obviously I played him before a few years ago. Accurate at times. Obviously can make throws and make the plays with his feet extended, just like a lot of these quarterbacks in the NFL. So same thing like every week, just trying to find a way to bottle these guys up and get to them. So that's it.
Now you're familiar with a Wink Martindale defense. What stands out to you about kind of the body work he's always done, but then also adjustments he's made this year to personnel?
Yeah, so much respect for Wink, just through all the years, even when you weren't going against him. I remember my brother won't be happy if I'm bringing this up, but a game in 2018 when he was in Tennessee going against Baltimore, and seeing it firsthand or secondhand, I guess you could say, and just all the years. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. What people don't know about him is he's a better person than he is even coach. So just a lot of respect for him. Wherever he's gone, they've had success. and they're a tough challenge schematically in the way that those guys play.
Today, he told New York media that Matthew, and he mentioned a couple other players as well, but he said Matthew is playing at an MVP level right now. Would you agree with that?
Matthew's playing at a very, very, very high level, and I think you guys all know how I feel about him. So MVP, whatever, but I just know I'm glad, and I wouldn't want anyone else here but him.
Can you talk a little bit about the success of Demarcus Robinson, just how he's been playing the last few weeks?
Yeah, it's been cool for him. Just a vet. He's obviously played in this league for a long time. He's had production in a lot of different places. Getting here, this was a different system for him. And what was really cool is the professionalism he brought every day. DeMarcus is an awesome human being, and he brings a certain energy that is just unique to him and respected by all the guys in the locker room. And as he just got more and more comfortable in the system and got his opportunity, you guys are seeing, what he's capable of. What I'm most proud of him is when he wasn't getting time on the field, he just kept going, and he didn't say anything. He just kept practicing. He was, obviously on the look squad, giving our defense a great look. And, again, when he got his op, he's made the most of it, and I don't see it stopping.
What, if anything, have you seen Puka improve upon as the season has progressed after getting off to such a fast start?
Yeah, that's a tough one, Gary, because I feel like it's kind of how I answered it 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's just getting more and more comfortable. Every week you can just tell. And again, all you have to do is look at how he is in the huddle during walkthroughs. They just learned the install. The installs are sitting there listening to myself and Sean talk for an hour straight. They probably just want to get the heck out of there, but they do got to get the information and then, sort of process that and then go do it. Every week it just gets a little bit easier and easier. His production's kind of saying that too. And again, it's, when a guy's producing, it's not just one guy, right? I mean, the offensive line, the tight end, it takes all 11 in the run game, and that's the truth. But there's a certain energy and a certain style that this guy has. He's got great vision, but again, it's that play energy. It's something unique. Not all guys have it. Guys have energy. He has it just at a different level, and it shows.
What do you remember about the game in Indy where Matthew took that hard hit late in the game? What's his name?
Remember thinking get up, which he's always going to get up. But no, just what an incredible first half our guys had after that. Played a Monday night game across the country, came back, get here, early Tuesday morning, if you will, and then have to go right back to Indy, which is whatever. That's the NFL, no big deal there. But for our guys to come out with the amount of energy and what they did in that first half and early part of the second half, and then he takes that hit, unfortunately, and obviously it was real. He was kind of messed up from that, but to be able to just kind of stay in the fight like he's always going to. He had the one where in the fourth quarter where we were semi-backed up and we get an all-out pressure, and there's guys coming scotch-free, and with that hip has to escape. He finds Higbee for a big play. It just shows you what kind of leader and kind of toughness this guy has, and then to lead the squad down in that first drive of the overtime was awesome. So again, it's just a small little page in the chat or in the book that this man's writing every single day, and it's not even close to finished.
He always gets up. What does that do for a team knowing that you have the quarterback?
That is, I better get up too. Ask coaches as well. Whatever you got to do for a guy like number 9, as a coach, you're going to do. And as players, when you're seeing your teammate do what he does, but not only your teammate, your quarterback. When the best players have a certain standard, everyone else just has to follow suit. And his standard's about as high as it gets. And so, all you have to do is look to him to know, hey, this is how you do it within your own position, but this is how you do it. And it just goes through the entire locker room.
You mentioned earlier about play energy. Is play energy a scoutable trait?
I believe so. Yeah, I totally believe so. And you could just see it. Pacheco from the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't remember exactly what round he was drafted, but it was later. But then you look back at it, you're like, you know what? You could see some of that on tape. It's easier, obviously, in hindsight, no doubt. But he's a guy that just stands out with just this unique ability that he has when he has the ball in his hands or when he's on the field. It's just like it's a zest for loving being out in that grass, and not just on Sundays. You see it Monday through Saturday. Saturday in the preparation, particularly when they get out on the grass Wednesday through Friday. And Kyron loves being out on that grass. So.
When we asked Cooper about Matthew and just his leadership and overall play during this stretch a couple weeks ago, one of the things he brought up was just the responsibility he takes on to make everybody's job easier. What's something specific that maybe you've noticed in a moment or something like that that kind of speaks to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's every day. It's in the meeting rooms, but it's in the huddle, however, it's always going to be impressive with some of every team's got lengthy play calls. Some are longer than others, right? And he can spit through those with just a little bit of preparation after our meeting. Yeah, he won't want me telling you this, but you see him kind of mumbling to himself as he's just kind of getting that down. So when he's out there and walk through, he wants to be perfect right away. So obviously the guys see that, but his ability to not only be what I would say poetry in the huddle, because it's just so easy to listen to and so easy to follow when he breaks the huddle. If he has a coaching point for not just one guy but 2, 3, he can get that done within 2 seconds to make everyone else's job easier, and guys notice that. And that's just, he doesn't put that like that's extra. That's just how he believes his job should be if he wants to play at the elite level that he's capable of.
Cooper has mentioned this in the past, and actually I think you have as well. When talking through scenarios on a certain play with Sean, when you're, I guess, pitching ideas or when you guys are talking through what that collaboration looks like, how, I guess, do you have to almost catastrophize to sort of figure out all the different ways anything could happen in reaction to the play and present that to him? How does that conversation go, and then how does the building of that play into the
With are you asking with Matthew or with just Sean and I?
Sean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's you get in the you watch everything separately, right? And you come up with your own ideas, but you also what you're doing is you're studying the defense, right? And I feel like we have a pretty good feel of obviously what our guys can do, what Matthew likes, what our guys like. There's a good little rhythm there, obviously going. And then when we get in there, 9 times out of 10 we're already on the same page, and then you just talk about that other 10% to say, hey, should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? And it's been awesome. It's been really fun.
What's he like when players have ideas for things?
He's a great listener, and which is great listeners are great leaders, So he's always open to, and our players, they have great ideas. Not just here, everywhere I've been, there's always guys that have great ideas, and luckily we have guys that have had a lot of success in this league that aren't afraid to say, hey, what if we did it this way? I mean, we obviously it's on record what Matthew did on the 71-yard touchdown versus Cleveland. Cooper had something very similar last week that happened. I don't know if it was discussed, but just one little tweak to one little route, and that was the difference between an explosive and maybe a check down. So and again, Cooper's not going to hold back. He's going to do it if he believes it's the right thing, and why wouldn't we listen?
And then, sorry, just one more, if you don't mind. Obviously, this is an open environment, so people are talking about ideas all the time. But does anyone ever like soft launch an idea with you before they sort of like they work through it with you before they to try to make it come to its like more complete?
Trying to get me to throw people under the bus. Yes, they do, because he's got so many responsibilities. I got responsibilities for 11 guys plus the other guys, a small handful compared to what a head coach has to go through, obviously. So a lot of times he has so many more obligations that, if they want to find their way into something, they know where to go. So appreciate you guys.
Today. Merry Christmas. Jeez. Sad group.
How was your holiday?
It was actually awesome. Got a chance to hang out. I mean, it was the best football Christmas I've ever had, Yeah, I mean, a couple days off, big win, Thursday game. Get away from Sean for a couple days. It's outstanding. No, I just kidding.
Other games when you have the day off?
Yes, that's like so much fun for a coach to watch them.
Yeah.
You get to sit down and be a fan for a while. Like I always call my brother-in-law and tell him I'm ordering Domino's pizza and sitting here and having a drink and enjoying the games like he does every weekend after he calls me at the end of the day. But it's a lot of fun when you have those bye weeks or you have those mini buys from a Thursday. It's a lot of fun to sit there and be able to enjoy football because, it's work, but, we got in this thing because we love it. And when you get a chance to sit around and watch all your buddies play and watch the guys that you really cheer for or watch the guys you like to see, your friends win and stuff like that is always cool.
Do you get emotionally involved in the games that have an effect on your playoff chances?
I do not. I've been doing it for a long time because I'm old, Sarah. So I don't waste my time with energy with that type of stuff because, we're in the ideal spot where you control your own stuff, right? So, I don't like wishing ill will. I'm not a big karma guy, but, usually when you do that, you focus on the wrong type of things. And, you catch yourself sometimes when everybody else lets you know, God, the Seahawks would have lost that game you were in. But, I'd be really feel guilty cheering against other people, although I know people do it to us.
What did you gain from just watching the Giants, both their quarterbacks, and facing Tyrod this week?
It was pretty cool because they got a similar dynamic on how they play the game. Obviously Tyrod got a lot more experience and been out there a lot. Watching the phenom of DeVito going out and being from New York or the New York area in New Jersey, I really felt that Lynn Sanity movement behind him when you watch some of the games. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember when, Jeremy Lin went off for a month and just went Kobe Bryant for about a month. But you felt that when they were winning, had the excitement and all the momentum and felt them really playing well. And then watching those guys, they do some similar things. Obviously Tyrod's a lot more experienced because of how long he's been in the league. But the story behind DeVito has been awesome. And I heard they named him the starter, but, that doesn't mean anything in this business, as we all know. We've seen multiple quarterbacks a couple times this year, and that guy coming off the bench has some success. So no matter what it is, you got to prepare for both of them.
Yeah, what's your experience with Tyrod and what does he do well, or where does he sort of present a mismatch for you?
Mobile, smart, throws a really well-defined deep ball. Probably one of the better things he does, I would have to say that. Creates time in the pocket to create down the field. When he was younger, he probably took off a little bit faster, was a little bit more mobile. I'm not knocking his athleticism, but, just like everybody else, you'll get a little bit slower, but still got enough to move around the pocket, manipulate the pocket, move up in the pocket, step out, hurt you with his feet if he has to, get what he can get and get down, and then find open receivers because he creates time. He's big at that, always has been.
For the last couple of weeks, you've gotten some big plays from guys like Nick Hampton,
Sure.
Clemson Lake. How has those guys, that group of players maybe that we don't talk about all the time, developed?
It's a credit to the position coaches. We've done through a bunch of different outside linebackers, particularly since you've been here. I got to throw shots at Gary too, because you're old too, Gary. And to watch the amount of guys that's played for us this year, and to watch the guys get out there and get the opportunities and play well. BY and Hoyt have been the staples, but there's been a bunch of different guys go out there. Kier, Nick Hampton, whether it's been Zach Van Valkenburg, and guys getting opportunities, having some success, having some failures, right? But I think Nick Hampton's got the hot hand right now. He's playing well, made some plays on the ball, giving us some nice, valuable minutes. He's got some cool stories about him, how he's supposed to look to the sideline to come out on third down and didn't. But he made the play. So he got a data boy instead of scolded. But it is really cool to watch that room develop and how much care that Joe puts into that room. And you can really feel his military background come out when you go into that meeting room. And you can really feel the passion that he has behind it in week 17 of the season. They were just saying the other day, and he's explaining what his footwork's going to look like and his coverage and that. And Hoyt goes, it's week 17, coach. We got it. And then he just kind of laughed at himself and continued to coach that technique up. But it's really cool to watch that with the passion behind your position coaches and some of those things. And it's really going on across the board, whether you're talking about secondary, D-line, or whatever the case may be. on whatever week it is, to who gives us the best chance to win. Sometimes it's Des Wine, sometimes it's Ernest Brown, whatever the case may be. It's flipping those guys, and it's a credit to all those guys and all those guys' coaches.
Matthew's been known as a tough quarterback for his entire career, but what's the difference in seeing it in film or watching it in a game and then seeing it up close in person?
His toughness is his willingness to stand in the pocket and throw a football. And I think that is so respected by anybody who's played this game, coached this game, covered this game, whatever the case may be, because you know how hard that is. And when you go out there and you watch some of the throws he's making, some of the hits he's willing to take for his teammates and really all of us, it's just amazes us every single week. And then some of the throws, because it's got the best arm talent that we've seen probably live. I don't know, you guys can speak for yourself, but that I know I've seen live when you're talking about arm talent. That's where his toughness comes across. And it also comes across with his mental toughness. I can't tell you how many times we've come off after a big play, a touchdown drive, a long drive, and he just looks at me, I got you. And that is reassuring as all get out. And it's one of those things where you want to be able to repay him. You know, it's like, we got to make this play for him. You know, no bigger story than 21 playoffs versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers when we were rolling, playing really well. He comes out, they make some plays. It's Tom Brady. It's like, oh, God. And then Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp make that play to seal that game. It's like, yes, that's the toughness of Matthew Stafford. Not blinking, always being locked and loaded, ready to go, and, you know, wouldn't want anybody else.
Is that not common?
It is not common. You know, it's a lot of mentally tough people I know in this world. You know, Mike Tomlin, you know, Matthew Stafford, Ralph Steele. You don't know him as my Pop Warner coach, but you know, those guys are rare air when you talk about mental toughness and how to deal with all types of situations and deal with the mentality of what we go through from a daily basis. It's pretty unique and it's fun to watch, and I marvel when I see it.
Raheem, can you teach mental toughness?
You can embody it, and you can get better at it. You know, we watch our own head coach get better at it, right? You know, the difference between this year and last year. The old woe is me feeling as opposed to the I'm going to attack the situation. That's who I am. You know, so like as you get older, you grow those things. You develop and all those things, including me. So it's like, do you watch the emotional roller coaster with the games on Sunday? No. Partly because we're old, Gary. But the other part is that's part of mental toughness as well. That's part of the growth.
Where do you see the most?
I'll be back, Jordan.
Good. Probably good.
Stu, you can get me the lunchroom.
I wanted to ask if you could think back to that 21 training camp when Matthew first came in. Your first red zone drills, it was really the first live period you guys did in camp, and he threw a no-look. And that was, I think, really the first live one he threw against the defense at that time. Can you remember we saw the reaction in real time.
Oh, yeah.
But can you remember afterward what the chatter among the defensive players in terms of the flair that he did?
So it was that and then the six-shooter thing he always does, right? And it was more the defensive guys talking about that. But it was really me saying, yeah, I've seen that a few times on the wrong end of that, you know? So it's like that is not new, guys. So you got to get used to that. Like, don't trust your eyes. Not everybody can make that throw, and really having a coach around that, right? Because there's not everybody can make that throw, particularly in competitive situations. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks do it on air. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks do it, even in scout team, you know, when it's competitive, but still gonna take a chance. That's not gonna risk reward, right? And I've seen that before from him, against him in games. So I think Aaron Rodgers spoke about it live a couple years ago, but he is unbelievable. Like the stuff that he can do, the no looks, look at you, manipulate the coverage with his eyes, move a person as he's looking at you, but peripheral the vision to see the whole field, knowing exactly where everybody's supposed to be, being able to throw the spots with pinpoint accuracy. That is a skill and a gift that is, again, rare.
And specifically about the flair with which he does that, was that the first time that you guys, I mean, I know there's not a lot of people left here from that game,
Yeah.
but you guys collectively were like, oh, this is this dude's personality.
He's the energy, right? Our guys absolutely love when he throws a no look or throws a deep pass or one of those ones where you woo and the excitement on the sideline. It just goes that. And then he walks off the field and nobody wants to talk to him like he's throwing a no hitter. You know, he's kind of by himself, except for him and Sean doing their thing, right, broing it up. right? And it's like the coolest stuff to see. In game day, I don't want to bother him. I'll mess with him all week during the week. I walk through his meeting room all the time and just give him something. I don't care. I'm walking through here. I don't care what you're doing. But he's that kind of guy, right? He keeps it light. He keeps it serious, but he's definitely has, I hate to use the word swag because he's way past swag. He definitely has a certain air about him that's just different than anybody you've been around.
What's the biggest area of growth you've seen in Ernest Jones between last season and this season?
Oof, that's a tough one. Ernest came in pretty mature, as you know. But, Bobby Wagner, gets a lot of credit for helping him and well-deserved because of the man Bobby was. But the player, the man Ernest is, was just dying to come out. And this year, the training wheels are off. And it is his team. It's his defense. He controls the walkthrough. I'm just there. And when he wants me to move away, he'll kindly let me know. And that is the biggest thing I see from Ernest when he wants to take over. And what he brings to our game day atmosphere when he's feeling right is different than a lot of guys I've been around. I've been lucky enough to be introduced him to London Fletcher a couple weeks ago, another guy who was different. And, Derek Brooks, they were different. When we talk about that position and the control they have, Derek Brooks was a little more calm. When he spoke in this melatonin voice. I think that's the right word. And it was just, you locked in to pay attention to what he was saying because you're so locked in. Ernest, when he speaks, it comes across more like London. It's a little more defiant. Get right. And it's like, you are big. I better listen. And he's just one of those guys. He's fun to be around. He's got youthful enthusiasm that just screams out the building, and we love that. All right, guys. I'll see you. Have a good one.